90-Day Fiancé. Juan David Daza's secret plan to resume his cruise ship career is a huge red flag. I'm convinced he's sabotaging his relationship with Jessica Parsons. Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. I hope you are well. If you like the video, please subscribe and stay tuned for new videos. After watching the latest episode of 90-Day Fiancé Season 11, I'm more convinced than ever that Juan David Daza is looking for a way out of his relationship with Jessica Parsons. Juan and Jessica met on a cruise ship where Juan worked as a bartender. At the time, Jessica's first marriage was ending, and she was smitten with Juan. The two began a long-distance relationship, with Jessica based in Wyoming and Juan in Cali, Colombia. 90-Day Fiancé's Jessica and Juan got engaged, and Jessica became pregnant with Juan's child. The family reunited on 90-Day Fiancé after Juan was granted his K-1 visa and moved to Wyoming. However, the reunion was not all they dreamed. The couple lacked privacy, living in a small house with their son as well as Jessica's two sons from her first marriage. Juan was dismayed to find that their bedroom didn't even have a door. Furthermore, old issues resurfaced when Jessica's best friend brought up Juan's past infidelity. Juan found it hard to adapt to life in America, and he faced a growing urge to return to his carefree life at sea. Juan never resigned from his cruise ship job. He wasn't ready to give up his old life. As Juan struggled to adjust to his role as a stay-at-home father of three in a small town, he admitted to producers that he was toying with the idea of going back to work. Juan never officially left his job as a cruise ship bartender, and his boss had been reaching out to offer him work. Juan knew Jessica wouldn't be happy with the idea of him leaving, so he kept his dilemma a secret from her. Juan's lack of communication with both Jessica and his employer is a major red flag. He avoided telling Jessica something that would completely change their future, even as they were in the middle of wedding planning, and he was finally spending time with his son. Even worse, Juan's failure to resign from his job in the first place makes me think this was likely his plan all along. While Jessica was under the impression Juan was finally there to stay, he always had one foot out the door. When Juan finally worked up the courage to tell Jessica about his plans, she reacted exactly as he'd expected. Jessica refused to entertain the idea of Juan leaving again for months at a time. She told him that if he wanted to keep being a bartender on ships, he might as well go back to his family in Colombia, because she wasn't interested in bringing a man into her son's lives who wasn't there to stay. Jessica is obviously completely unwavering in her stance on Juan's job. I suspect this was a conversation they'd had many times, with Juan already aware of how strongly she felt about it. Yet, he seemed hesitant to close the door on his fun, carefree life. This is a sign of Juan's larger commitment issues. It goes far beyond his desire to earn a living for his family, and instead speaks to his unwillingness to settle down and give up his single life once and for all. Regardless of how Jessica feels, Juan returning to work on cruise ships could spell disaster for his K-1 visa process. Ships operate in international waters, which means Juan would have to leave the United States if he were to return to work. Reddit user u/TalkingMotanka, a former cruise ship employee, explained the complexities of the workforce. They noted that if Juan leaves the U.S. before his green card's approved, he risks going against the terms of his K-1 visa application. Juan is obviously experienced with these matters, having worked on cruise ships in the past and navigated the K-1 visa application process. He surely knows the legal complications involved with leaving the country to work in international waters. Juan's urgency to go back to work, coupled with his apparent dissatisfaction with life in Wyoming, leads me to suspect that he may be intentionally violating the terms of the K-1 as part of a larger fear of commitment. Juan's desire to resume working on a cruise ship, even without Jessica's approval, is evidence of his restlessness and unhappiness with his current living situation. He's willing to consider leaving behind his fiancée and their young child for another chance to live out his dreams. The fact that Juan would even toy with the idea of being away from his family instead of looking for work closer to home is concerning. That it could also put an end to his future in the U.S. is even more troubling. Juan's life turned upside down when he moved to Wyoming, and it's natural that he would long for the simplicity he once had. But his many red flags on 90 Day Fiancé add up to suggest Juan's looking for any possible way to get out of his current situation. Juan has a history of infidelity, and he quickly dismissed the possibility of establishing a career in Wyoming. Juan doesn't seem ready to commit to Jessica, and his flirtation with the idea of leaving her behind for a life at sea tells me he's nowhere near ready to settle down. 90 Day Fiancé's Natalie Mordopseva reveals what she's studying in college amid Josh Weinstein split. Natalie Mordopseva from 90 Day. The Last Resort recently revealed she's enrolled in college and is now sharing what she's studying there amid her split with Josh Weinstein. Natalie had been through 2 failed marriages when she met Mike Youngquist. Natalie came from Ukraine to small-town Sequim to marry Mike. However, Mike didn't agree with Natalie's dreams of becoming a Hollywood actress and model. She left him to date modeling agency CEO Josh. But after 3 years, Josh never accepted Natalie as his girlfriend. Natalie and Josh broke up after couples therapy. Natalie shocked fans with the news of her going to college, and she's finally shared what's been keeping her busy lately. Natalie surprised her followers with an unexpected update on Instagram stories. She captioned the story with the hashtag studying psychology. In the frame, an iPad displaying notes on social psychology rested on her desk, which was set up cozily with a lit candle, fresh fruit bowls, and refreshing drinks. To complete the ambience, Natalie added the workflow Music Intense Study soundtrack as she snacked and worked her way through the chapter. Natalie studied journalism and psychology back home in Kiev, but her career took a different turn after she won a beauty pageant. She decided to pursue modeling and acting instead, claiming to have appeared in 10 films and several advertising campaigns. After receiving a K-1 visa, she moved to the United States. However, once Natalie realized she couldn't pursue her Hollywood dreams while living in the woods, she left Mike almost immediately. Despite this, she didn't want him to file for divorce. Fearing that ending the marriage could jeopardize her future in America, Natalie dated Josh in hopes that he would help launch her career in the film industry. Although Josh introduced her to some of his producer friends, Natalie failed to make a lasting impression. 90 Day Fiancé fans began to question how she was still living in the U.S. despite her setbacks, and Natalie eventually revealed that she had obtained her papers 3 years ago. She reassured fans that she wasn't at risk of being deported or becoming homeless, explaining that she had a stable place to live and, as a college student, could always apply for housing if necessary. At the time, Natalie had left 90 Day. The Last Resort fans wondering what she was studying. It appears Natalie has finally given them the answer through her latest story. However, does it mean that Natalie isn't interested in becoming an actor or a model anymore? It's been 6 years since Natalie left Ukraine, and she still hasn't been able to make her mark in the entertainment industry for her acting or modeling skills, apart from her frequent reality TV stints. Perhaps Natalie has decided to go back to her roots and pursue something she's actually good at. 90 Day Fiancé's Mark Bassett reveals stunning update about Mina Mac's son Clayton. Mark Bassett from 90 Day Fiancé Season 11 is revealing a big update on Mina Mac's son's arrival in the U.S. amid his decision to adopt Clayton. Mina is from Paris, and professional pilot Mark met her during one of his work trips over 5 years ago. Mark proposed to Mina, and they welcomed their baby Maria together. Mina moved to the U.S. on a K-1 visa after Maria turned 2, but she couldn't get her son Clayton to accompany her. As Clayton's immigration kept getting pushed, Mina wondered if she should go back to France after canceling the wedding. Clayton's passport has continued to be delayed on the show, and Mark's new Instagram post confirms Mina's son is still not in America. Mark shared a carousel post featuring several pictures of him, Mina, and baby Maria with Clayton. Mark told his Instagram family that the work to get Clayton to the U.S. is coming together. Mark hopes that Clayton is reunited with their family soon. He added that Clayton is in good hands for now, with Mina's sister and cousins. Mark also revealed that Clayton's adoption process will begin once he arrives in the U.S. "I know how much Mina misses him," Mark added as he thanked his fans for the concern, love, and support for their family.